Right. Okay. Now, welcome back, everybody. My name is Harley from the Framplay. Sorry, my desk is being stupid. My name is Harley from the Framplay, and today we're finally inside of the Introduction to HTML and CSS portion of the Foundations path for the Odin project, and this is a milestone. This is where we want to be. The setup was tedious, and there was lots of information that we had to go through, but we're now going to get to the fun part. All of that should have been fun, right? Yeah. No, this is going to be the fun part where we actually get to create stuff and make things look cool on the screen in front of us. So, Introduction to HTML and CSS. I know we kind of read through this, but I'm just going to reread it one more time, and then we'll get to where we were. We weren't too far down. So here it is. It's time to actually start making things. This section will teach you the basics of HTML and CSS, the two foundational building blocks of pretty much everything on the web. I was like, why isn't it? Oh, did it stop or? My bad. Is it working? Okay. Sorry. Okay, so now let's go on. Pretty much everything on the web. So HTML and CSS are the two foundational building blocks of pretty much everything on the web. So this right here, this is HTML. And then the way it's styled and like the little cool little things like that. Actually, I think that's JavaScript. But like buttons and stuff, I like being able to click that, that's HTML. Being able to click that, HTML. Click that, HTML. All of that is HTML. The clicking stuff, and then the way it's laid out and looks like organized, and the color in the background, and like this little style on here, all that CSS. Like adding that little shadow background, and then the circle and the little icon. But you can like add the image or whatever, and then make it into a certain size, and yeah, it's cool. But we're gonna learn all about that, and I'm very excited. Okay. So anyway, get the basics of your HTML and CSS and how they work together. HTML and CSS. HTML and CSS are two languages that work together to create everything that you see when you look at something on the internet. HTML is the raw data that a web page is built out of. All the text, links, cards, lists, and buttons are created in HTML. CSS will add style to those plain elements. HTML puts information on a web page, and CSS positions that information, gives it color, changes the font, and makes it look great. If you want to get technical, HTML and CSS aren't programming languages, because they are only concerned with presenting information. They are not used to program any logic. JavaScript, which you'll be learning in the next section, is a programming language because it's used to make web pages do things. Yet there is quite a lot you can do with just HTML and CSS, and you will definitely need them both. The following lessons focus on giving you the tools you need to be successful once you get to the JavaScript content as you continue through our curriculum. And let me turn this down just a little bit more. I try not to have the volume too loud. No, Tina, I'm sorry. I love you, but you need to get off my desk. And then my cat wants to come and be on my desk this whole time. And now she's trying to bite me because she's mad that she knows she's going to get put down on the ground. Okay. Okay, stop biting, bro. Go sit on your chair. What are you doing? Okay, little cat. All right, where were we at? You see, it looks okay. Our language that work together to create everything you see on see when you look at something on the internet. HTML is the raw data the web page is built out of. Okay, it makes it look great. If you want to get technical, HTML and CSS aren't programming language because okay, and then both lessons focus you, give you the tools, successful. Okay, we already read through that. So now it wants us to read this. Oh yeah, that's where we left off, reading that article. So let's go ahead and read that article, right? When you're designing or developing a website, there are we can actually just do that. But does it change it on both? Or is it? Oh, it does change it on both. Okay. When you're designing or developing a website, there are 3 different coding languages that you will want to be aware of: HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. HTML, a language that determines how documents and web pages are displayed in a web browser, the language for the building blocks of any website. CSS stands for Cascading Style Sheets, a popular style sheet language that determines how a document created in HTML is styled, colors, font styles, layout, and responsive features. JavaScript allows you to change CSS and HTML elements on your website after the site has been loaded, which gives you the ability to make your site more interactive and engaging for users. These three programming languages are typically the foundation of any website, which is why it's important that you are aware of how these languages will affect your website and what they are typically used for. So what's the difference? HTML stands for Hypertext Markup Language. Excuse me. And what do? They create the structure, controls the layout of the content, provide structure for the web page design, and the fundamental building block of any web page. Cascading Style Sheet. Stylize the website. Apply style to the web page elements. Target various screen sizes to make web pages responsive, and primarily handles the look and feel of a web page. And then JavaScript. Increases interactivity. Adds interactivity to a web page, handles complex functions and features, and programmatic code which enhances functionality. What can you do with each programming language? With HTML, you'll be able to create the structure of your website. CSS gives you the ability to make the website look more visually appealing. As for JavaScript, this is a robust programming language that allows you to effectively change the HTML and CSS components of your website to match your specifications precisely. If you own a website but don't know much about coding, knowing the difference between these three programming languages should help you better understand what goes into developing a website. If ever a problem occurs with a component of your site, having a clear idea of what these programming languages are may be enough to help you properly diagnose what is causing the problem and how to fix it. The following article provides an in-depth comparison of the HTML, CSS, and JavaScript programming language. Web development and coding languages. Websites can be developed with the use of a wide range of different coding and programming languages, some of which are more complex than others. Some of the most common web development languages include HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, Python, PHP, Ruby, and SQL. While Ruby and PHP are exceedingly popular among entrepreneurs, startups, and web developers, the primary languages of HTML, CSS, and JavaScript should be enough for you to understand the basics of web design and development. Each of these web development languages has a different purpose. For instance, Ruby is a scalable and fast programming language that can help you build an extensive website or program in just a short period of time. When paired with Ruby on Rails framework, this language gives developers practically everything they need to build a website. With a language like SQL, developers can maintain and optimize large databases in a much more streamlined manner. Different types of projects incorporate different languages of code. Many professional web developers also have their own preferences that they will use even if other programming languages have proven to be more popular. Various platforms are built on different languages. For instance, WordPress is built mainly with powerful PHP code, even though HTML and CSS are used as well. The main language that you use all depends on your specific project and the business goals that you have. By identifying what these goals are, you should have a better idea of which languages are ideal when you are developing a website or application. So what is HTML? HTML is a programming language which stands for Hypertext Markup Language. This is a relatively simplistic yet powerful programming language that allows web developers and website owners to create the structure of their websites. If you want a sentence in a blog post to receive a bold font, HTML could be used to achieve this. When using the system, any text files can be tagged for effects, graphics, fonts, or colors. If you've never used any kind of programming language in the past, HTML would be a great place to start. Keep in mind that HTML markups are enhanced by CSS and JavaScript, which is why it's recommended that you learn this programming language first. What can you do with HTML? The main reason why it's important to know HTML is because it allows you as a website owner to create the basic structure of your website, from which you can use any other coding language to enhance the design. With a basic understanding of HTML, you can significantly increase the control and flexibility that you have with your website. You'll be able to make your own changes by having knowledge of this code. Some platforms will automatically implement many of the more complex functions of a website design, which leaves you with the ability to tend to minor changes that can be made with HTML. And give me one moment, I'll be right back. Okay. Excuse me. I forgot where I was at. Okay, what can you do with HTML? The main reason why... Jesus, excuse me. Okay. So with basic understanding HTML, you significantly increase the control and flexibility that you have at your website. You'll be able to make your own changes by having the knowledge of this code. Some platforms will automatically implement many of the more complex functions of a website design, which leaves you with the ability to tend to the minor changes that can be made with HTML. Okay, so what is CSS? CSS is a style sheet language that's focused almost entirely on improving the presentation of the HTML elements. While CSS is a static programming language, it can be used to make your website appear visually pleasing and modern. If you want your website to have a sleek and stylish design, CSS is the programming language to use. With a basic understanding of CSS, you can make changes to the overall look and feel of your website, which is useful when you want to match the appearance of your website with the aesthetic of your brand. What can you do with CSS? Even though CSS is primarily used to create static visual effects, the latest versions of the programming language offers some functionality for the creation of very simple animations. If you want to change the color of some of the text on a web page, basic CSS would allow you to do so by adding style code to the HTML code that's already found on your page. Along with the presentation of HTML, CSS can also be used to alter the layout and formatting of your website. Once you know the basics of CSS, you should be capable of improving the look of your website and all of the HTML that you have already added to the design. It is among the most important programming languages for website owners who want to make their site more interactive. Oh, JavaScript. Okay, and then what is JavaScript? Sorry. JavaScript is among the most important programming languages for website owners who want to make their website more interactive, which makes this the most complex of the three standard programming languages in this article. While HTML provides the structure for a website and CSS allows you to control the presentation of a site, the JavaScript programming language gives you the tools that you need to alter the behavior of different elements that are found on a website page. With this tool, you can add a layer of interactivity to the CSS and HTML elements on your website, which is highly recommended if you want your website to appeal to the modern customer. Most modern websites come with a menu button that can be clicked to display a selection of areas in which the website that you can navigate to. The menu button usually reveals a small menu on the side of the page, which adds interactivity to the page itself. All of this is powered by JavaScript and can make your website appear to be more modern and sophisticated. With a basic understanding of JavaScript, you can manipulate the various interactive features of your website to perform a wide range of actions. If you want to have complete control over the design and function of your website, you should know at least some of the coding involved with JavaScript. What can you do with JavaScript? The types of things that you can do with JavaScript are practically limitless. The programming language can provide you with the tools needed to create a calculator for your website, create various keyboard shortcuts that allows users to effortlessly navigate to other pages, play animations when users scroll down the page. Since you can change the HTML and CSS elements with JavaScript, this can be a very beneficial language to learn. Best resources to learn about development languages. I think I actually have this book. If you're looking to improve knowledge and understanding of the many common web development languages, there are many fantastic resources that will allow you to enhance your skills in this area. No matter which programming language you want to learn, there are free resources all over the internet that will provide you with what you need to understand the basics of the language in question. If you want to focus primarily on improving the front-end elements of your website, the most important languages to learn include HTML5, CSS3, Bootstrap, and JavaScript. As for the back-end, you should consider learning languages like Python, Ruby, and PHP. So let's actually... okay. And we can create a called front end. save this to front end. Done. Just to kind of go back to later. Alright, Code Academy.
There are 24 million people learning to code with Code Academy, and I'm proud to be one of them. I remember very specifically writing my first Hello World and just thinking that this is magic. Wow, that's coding. I can create anything now. What Code Academy really did for me is give me the ability to create the things that I imagined. It gave me a sense of purpose. Coffitivity was the first project I was involved with that really exploded. And to think that one of the 50 best websites built in 2013 was built by two people who had been coding for 1 month and 3 months respectively. If you're able to take the things that are in your head and make them a reality, you will be more likely to live the life that you actually want to live. My name is Tommy Nicholas. I'm the co-founder of Knox Payments, and I'm a Code Academy user.
Okay, I guess just kind of like letting you know that that's a resource, huh? Okay, so the best resources available to you include free online courses that will teach you the basics of the language in an organized and structured manner. If you want to learn how to effectively use HTML for your website, check out this course at Code Academy. By the end of the 9-hour course, you should be able to use HTML on your website without running into many issues. The same website also offers free tutorials for CSS and JavaScript, both of which... And we're going to add that to our front end. Okay. Right, okay, cool. I think, yep, add to front end, and same thing with learning JavaScript. We're going to add those to our front end portion, which, I mean, I know we're going to go over stuff later, and in the introduction it said not to go down a rabbit hole, but those are going to be useful tools for us later on, because I've used Code Academy a couple of times before, and they got some really, really good lectures. Okay, let's see here. Both of which have proven to be very popular and highly effective. While the HTML and CSS courses have 5 and 6 lessons respectively for you to take, the JavaScript course is even more robust and includes 14 lessons with 30 hours of coursework. Wow, 30 hours of coursework. Okay. While it's possible to develop and maintain a website for your business without having any knowledge of coding via a strong content management system, having basic knowledge of the more common programming language will allow you to edit your current website or start building a new one without assistance. Overall, you have more control over how your website looks, feels, and performs when you have some knowledge of these programming languages. Further customizing your website. If you find your web projects are more complex than you can handle, consider contacting our team. Oh, okay. Gotcha. But this kind of... Okay. So the difference is HTML is the layout, CSS is the style, and JavaScript is the interactivity. If that makes sense for everyone else. Additional resources. This section contains helpful links to related content. It isn't required, so consider it supplemental. This free code camp article goes into a little more depth than the assigned one. It covers things we'll be teaching explicitly in later lessons though, so don't worry about memorizing any of the details. Bookmark devdocs.io, read the welcome message, massive API documentation collection that even works offline, an essential collection of reference material for everything covered and more, maintained by Free Code Camp. So we're actually going to save this. Actually, we're going to read this one. We'll read this one, and then let's go bookmark this one instead. Okay. Excuse me. Oh man, excuse me. on, Tina. She heard me sneeze and now she's like, "Are you okay, Master? Master, are you okay? You're okay." I know, you smell the stove. Okay, hold on. I'll be right back. I gotta check the stove. Make sure it's not overheating. My wife said she'd be here. Okay. Okay, article by Free Code Camp. Learn web development basics, HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. Explained for beginners. If you're learning web development, you will come across terms like HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. These are often called the building blocks of the web. These are three tools dominate. I don't know why I can't talk right now. These three tools dominate web development. Every library or tool seems to be centered around HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. So if you want to become a web developer, you'll need to learn them well. You'll also discover that websites are mostly built from these three languages. But you're probably wondering what each one is and what it's really used for. What makes these languages so special and important? Excuse me. And what makes them so ubiquitous that you can't help but see them in every tutorial and topic based on web development? Well, now you need wonder no more. In this article, I will explain the basics of what HTML, CSS, and JavaScript are, how they make the web work, and what they do on their own. What is the internet? The internet is simply a network of computers that communicate with each other to send and receive data. Each of these computers on the internet can be distinguished and located by a unique number called an IP address. An IP address looks something like this. What is the web? The web is a subset of the internet. Like every other computer network out there, the web is made up of two main components: the web browser, client, and the web server. The client requests the data, and the server shares or serves its data. To achieve this, the two parties have to establish an agreement. The agreement is called the Application Program Interface, or in short, the API. Application Programming Interface, API. But this data has to be arranged and formatted into forms that is understandable by end users who have a wide range of technical experiences and abilities. This is where HTML, CSS, and JavaScript and the whole concept of web development come into play. What is HTML? HTML stands for Hypertext Markup Language. Dictionary.com defines markup as a set of detailed instructions, usually written on a manuscript, to be typeset concerning style of type, makeup of pages, and the like. So you can think of HTML as a language used for creating detailed instructions concerning style, type, format, structure, and the makeup of a web page before it gets printed, shown to you. But in the context of web development, we can replace the term printed with printed as a more accurate term. HTML helps you structure the page into elements such as paragraphs, sections, headings, navigation bars, and so on. To illustrate what a page looks like, let's create a basic HTML document. Okay. So we create the basic HTML document with the doc type, all that kind of good stuff. This is how you can format and structure a document with just HTML. As you can see, the markup contains some web elements such as H1, H2, H3, paragraph, unordered list, and lists inside of the unordered list, more paragraphs, line breaks, a body tag. So, level 1, level 2 heading, level 3 heading, a paragraph, an unordered list with bullet points, a button input, and the whole body of this of the page. This is what the markup above renders on a web page. So they see that. Second heading, third heading, the paragraphs, the bullets, and a button at the bottom. You can also add attributes to these elements, which you can use to identify the elements and access them from other places. Hold on, I'll be right back. Huh?
As soon as I got there, she's like, "Hi, mommy. I'm gonna go home to see daddy."
Already? You didn't want to stay? You wanted to come home?
She specifically wanted to come home because of you.
Alright.
And she's tired. Okay, you wanna take your shoes off? Gotta go. Take your shoes off. Wait.
Hey Siri, set a timer for 15 minutes.
15 minutes. Counting down.
Nice. Okay. You can also add attributes to these elements, which you can use to identify the elements and access them from other places in the site. In our example, we set the ID attribute to all of the 3 span elements. This will help us access them from our JavaScript, as you will see later. So let's see. Okay. Actually, we're gonna end the stream here, finish reading this document, and we'll continue on in a little bit later. Alright, thank you guys for tuning in. I'm actually really excited to get started with some actual programming, so it'll be fun. Alright, thank you guys. Later.